The last ever episode of Big Drive Energy. April Fools. It's the first episode of April. That means the Masters is right around the corner. We're going to kick this pod off with a new segment called Chief's Correction Corner. We'll introduce the Chief here in just a second, but we're going to talk about Tommy Fleetwood's new sponsor, Uber Golf. What an incredible idea. Preview the Valero Texas Open. Mitchell's got a player profile for us. Those guys have been cooking this year. And then, of course, as we do every single Wednesday, we'll finish it up with a WTF Wednesday. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. We're going to start this pod off with a banger. We have got a new segment for you guys, Chief's Correction Corner. And this is fun because the Chief Hoser, the man, he is like one of our dads, right? Grew up with him. He taught us how to fish, took us camping, taught us how to eat a steak rare the correct way. Taught us a lot of stuff as kids and has followed along with our podcast, listens in and always gives us some awesome, constructive, hilarious feedback afterwards. So he said, let's just make this a segment and make it Chief's Correction Corner. We're going to bring in the Chief here just in a sec, but shout out to AI for this incredible graphic. I got to resize that a little bit, but let's bring on the Chief and get going with a little Chief's Correction Corner. Chief, how we doing?
Hey. Gotta tell you, I wish that AI could make me look like that in real life.
AI can do some pretty fun things. I just tell it, hey, make a picture, use this, and here we go.
That's good stuff. I'm doing great, guys. Hope you're all doing well.
Doing fantastic, Chief. Thank you for joining us.
You bet. My pleasure. Thanks for taking my suggestion on this. I know we've had some offline conversations about some of the crazy things you guys talk about, and so I've been taking a few notes over the last month. I got a couple things.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, a couple things. Just a couple things on. I bet just Mitchell.
Well, Mitch might be the star of this show, this segment this week. But let's go back about a month, March 2nd. You guys were talking about. Mitch was talking about a trip to the casino, playing 21. Playing blackjack, and he said that he feels that he can manifest cards while he's gambling. Okay, blackjack outcomes are driven, I'm quoting this research I did, are driven by random card order and fixed probabilities. There is no mechanism, mental or otherwise, other than that can influence whether the next card is a 5 or a 10. All right? What you can't control is how you play the situation. So what happens, Mitch, I think, is you get into a little self-perpetuating loop called confirmation bias, and you'll be sitting there, and you want a 7, whatever you want, and you say, okay, I need a 7, and you're going to mentally decide 7, and a 7 pops up, and you say, look, I did it again. Sorry, buddy. That's not how it works.
I mean, in my mind, it still does, so I can live with that. But yes, unfortunately, if I would never gamble if I just knew based on math, because based on math, we're going to lose all the time, right?
That's why those casinos are so brightly decorated and have all those lights.
Yeah. Yep, exactly.
Well, and you only remember the times that you win, right? If you need a 7 really bad and you hit it, that dopamine hit sticks with you for a long time. Whereas if you need a 7 and you get a 10 and you bust, you kind of try to flush that.
Oh yeah,
the true degenerates flush that right away.
My best gambling stories are when I went to the craps table, either on a cruise or when I was in Vegas on a rare occasion, and I spent a half an hour, and there were a bunch of drunk young women rolling nothing but 6s and 8s, and I walked away with $800. That's those are my best stories. So the other thing about that same segment you guys talked about on March 2nd, you guys were talking about how your gambling characters and Mitch, you said Spence basically chases his gambling losses, which we all know is not a good thing to do. And Mitch says you just get pissed when you lose. Well, if you look it up, Mitch is actually in better shape on this one.
Yes. Yeah, I just don't gamble anymore. I have the ability to walk away somehow, where Spencer, and it is truly addiction to witness in real time, when it's like just one more hand. Just one more roll and then I'm done. Like it really works that way.
I understand. All right. Next thing, that very same episode, Mitch was talking about his favorite videos, and he was talking about really enjoying seeing like a beaver dam getting unclogged. And then he said that he would like to find, do you remember this, Mitch? He said he would like to find a website that just showed drains unclogging. I don't think there is one, but I will tell you that if you are, I'm sure you're both aware that in the trades these days, the electrical and the plumbing trades, there's a fantastic shortage of these guys. So if you could figure out a way to unclog drains for a couple of years, you'd be a millionaire, because there are not enough plumbers, man. They're just not out there. I thought that was interesting. And you haven't found that website yet, have you?
I have not. I really didn't look into it, unfortunately. My attention span's too short. I forgot about it.
Yeah. All right. And I'm sorry, same episode, the very next thing, Mitch, I'm ganging up on you here, but you keep saying these things. You were talking about seeing a bird get hit by a golf ball. And it was, remember this? The bird got hit by the ball, was obliterated. And so you said, a bird has to be aware of its surroundings. I don't know if I need to say much about that.
Well, you would think that as a living thing that it would somewhat be aware of what's going on around it. Like, I guess, are birds just that stupid?
But birds don't. If you ever watch how birds interact with people, they pretty much stay away from them. So if you think if you're out there hitting a ball 160 miles an hour at it, the bird might. He should hear that. No, they don't. No, they're stupid. They're just stupid.
Yeah, it's natural selection in its truest form.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Maybe a couple more here for today, guys. Obviously, I've got a month's worth of backlog here. This is going to take us a while to get caught up. But this is moving on to the March 4th pod. The great bar soap debate. Spencer was talking about bar soap, and he was complaining how he felt like more or less moisturized after using bar soap. And you remember that, Spence?
Yes, I do. And it feels like my skin is like, here, I'll get real graphic with you. If I put a bar of soap in like my gooch area, right, it definitely doesn't sweat and stick as much as it, because it's drying it out, right? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you for that visual, Spencer.
Okay, it's obviously whether a soap moisturizes you or not has nothing to do with whether it's bar soap. It has to do with what kind of moisturizers are in that brand of soap, right? I mean, if we're talking truth or dare here, So, and then there's also, this led right directly into the great spray-on deodorant debate. Mitch said, and I loved this when you said this, Mitch. Do you know a single man who uses spray-on deodorant? And this was after saying, 50 years ago, everybody stunk, right? Because nobody had deodorant. Do you know a single man who uses spray-on deodorant? Well, I want to know how you find that out. When you meet somebody, is it like, hi, I'm Mitch. Do you use spray-on deodorant?
Ironically, after the pod, I got a text from one of my buddies that listens, and he said, I use spray-on deodorant. He's like, I can't, the other stuff, it just itches my, armpit hair or whatever. So I didn't know that was a thing. I thought it was just body spray and then deodorant is deodorant. I didn't know there was a legit spray in your armpits also to deodorize you.
Here, before we end this segment, here's a very quick history of deodorant for you guys. All right. Mitch said 50 years ago, everybody stunk. Well, actually, deodorant came into widespread use in 1949, just right after the Chief was born. Do that math real quick.
That's why you always smell so good, Chief.
Yeah, well, I wasn't using it till I was a little older.
I was going to say that you came out of the womb and they figured they needed something.
Yeah, that was it. They invented it because of me. So basically, 77 years ago, everybody stunk. Not 50, 77. All right. You were close. You were on the right track. Spray-on is, once again, it's a choice. So the estimated male deodorant users on this planet, if you do 85% of all people use deodorant and 50% of all the people on the planet are male, there are 3.4 billion people who use deodorant. All right? You need to know this. 50% of them use stick deodorant. 35% use spray-on deodorant.
Wow.
And the other 15% use a roll-on. So 1.2 billion people, Mitch, use spray-on deodorant, and you have never met one of them.
I don't know if I ever have, and if I don't want to meet one because I can't, as a man, take myself seriously putting a can of spray underneath my armpits. It feels like I'd be putting hairspray in my armpits or something like that. I just couldn't do it.
All right. Long ago in history, when I first started using this stuff in high school, because I was coming home from football practice and my mother told me I stunk, I was using a spray on. Everybody used Right Guard.
Okay.
That was it. That's what we all used.
Honestly, maybe I'll have to give this a shot. Like, Chief, are you a roll-on guy or are you
I'm a stick guy.
Okay.
I'm a stick guy.
I'm like a gel stick guy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's more like a roll-on, isn't it?
I think so. Yes.
Yeah, it's like the blue gel versus like the white crusty ones.
Yes.
Not a big fan of the white crusty ones.
Yeah, I use the blue gel.
And I always make sure there's no aluminum in mine. That's big key.
And to put this deodorant thing to bed before we wrap this up, you used the term, Mitch, talking about when you go through menopause, you smell worse.
Yeah.
All right. Well, of course, there's no real medical term, menopause. But I looked this up, and there is something called andropause. As people get older, they talk about that, and things change in your body. And me being an old fart, I'm going through some of that. But it has no bearing whatsoever on whether you stink or not. It
really
does not affect your body odor.
Okay.
Anyway.
Wow. So I guess if I'm extra stinky, then it means something different. Then I'm not going through the big change yet.
A lot of chemical things can do that to you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. A lot of chemicals inside of my body.
All right, boys. I'm going to zip it for this week because I got so much more. We got many, many more of these to do, but we don't want to pile up on Mitch too bad today. So
we'll let him go.
All right.
Thanks for coming on, Chief. We appreciate you.
My pleasure. And before I go, your gambling tip of the day, guaranteed money in the bank. This is Chief Hoser's tip of the day. Utah at home, plus 17 points against my beloved Nuggets.
I'm hammering that tonight, Chief. I'm
Take
emptying the account on that.
Take those points.
Even one further, I'll do you one better. Utah first half money line, possibly. Because our first halves have just been garbage recently. So maybe parlay Utah Jazz money line first half with them. Plus, I don't even know if you can parlay a money line with a spread or not, but I like.
You could also you could do a Utah first half Nuggets win game. You might get some good odds on that.
Ooh,
also,
there we go.
If you want a little, behind the tree, I'll tell you. Timmy Hardaway Jr. 4 threes.
Okay.
I love that bet. That's one of my go-tos.
All right, guys.
Honey hole. Chief,
I am
you.
the chief. I will remain the chief. And if you want to know what's going on, just call the chief because the chief frickin' knows.
The chief knows all. We appreciate it, Chief. This has been the first edition of Chief's Correction Corner. We are going to have to figure out now what we, it's funny when you know what you say and then you're like, it's almost like now that we have this segment, we know there's certain things that are going to get filed right away in that bank. The chief is going to be on it. Yeah.
Things are going to be coming out of my mouth, and I'm already going to be realizing that they're going to be brought up to me later. So I kind of appreciate that, because, you know, when you do a podcast twice a week, you don't really remember all that you say and all the conversations that we've had. So I kind of like recalling on some of the conversations that we've had over the last couple months.
I got a few soap recommendations on our YouTube comments. When I went back and checked our YouTube video from that episode, somebody was like, hey, this is the bar soap I use. So I may be exploring the differences in this, but I'm full bar soap guy now. I am not interested in any of the body wash, the wipe, whatever. I'm full bar soap guy.
I just feel like bar soap is such a boomer thing. It's such an old school thing. I don't know why you'd use that versus liquid, because if you think about it, it just feels like liquid is so much more spreadable versus bar soap. You have to literally touch any part of your body that you want to clean. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Like the bar soap doesn't run down you.
Yeah, exactly. And it does feel like it dries me out. So, but my girlfriend uses bar soap, and I honestly think that you're going to get to a point in your dad journey where you're such a granola dad that you end up like making your own deodorant. I think you're going to like have some shit in the oven, like Taco from the league, fucking making your own deodorant out of pine needles and some other bullshit. So I could totally see that happening.
Oh, well, I am a crunchy dad, and I will accept that. I've been very upset this past week with my lawn my lawn ability to water, if you will. I'm getting cut down here in Denver. We've got water restrictions. So I think I've been pretty bummed about my water scenario, but I can water on Sundays and Thursdays. So I've really been
dialing it up.
Yeah. Really been dialing it up. I'm like considering waking up early in the mornings just to get my lawn watered immediately on time, because I haven't been able to turn my sprinklers on yet either.
Oh yeah. See, I'm very much a boomer in the way of like, when I owned my home, I had a sprinkler system, but I would still go out and hand water my plants and shit. I don't know. I just like, there's something about that to me that I find therapeutic. I just realized, I think I am going to buy you for maybe your next birthday or for Christmas. I want to get you a pair of those FootJoy sandals, and I want to see you play golf in a pair of those, because that would truly bring you full circle as a crunchy dad that you are, with your Thrive Kids snacks and all this aluminum free bullshit. Meanwhile, you're inhaling Zins that are full of chemicals. You're fucking stopping at Taco Bell after a late night Nuggets game, just inhaling fake horse meat. God knows what they have at Taco Bell. I just find it funny. My mind is just blanking on me. The hypocrisy of people that, you know, you meet somebody at a wherever, usually you think at a rave where they're doing some crazy hard drugs, and they're like, oh my God, I only eat organic broccoli. It's like, yeah, you have LSD and fucking ketamine in your system, but you only eat organic quinoa. You know, where people draw the line to me just cracks me up. I think that shit's hilarious.
Yeah. Well, let's transition into a little golf today. And we got a lot to talk about. Of course, we talked about that we're going to preview the Valero Texas Open coming up. I'm coming off a massive week on the sports book, hitting my Gary Woodland plus 600 top 10 bet. No big deal. And also having Nikolai Højgaard up there, one of my best cards of all time. But we want to hop in and start with Tommy Fleetwood, new hat sponsor, Tommy Fleetwood. And for those of you watching on the YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe, get that click that like button, click that thumbs up, subscribe to our channel so you know when we are going live, usually Mondays and Wednesdays. If this is your first time, welcome to the show. But Tommy Fleetwood, I'm going to pull up the new hat here. Oh, that's a pretty rough image.
Great quality.
I literally did this at like 5 minutes ago, like mid-show.
Oh my God.
So for those of you that can't see it, Tommy Fleetwood now is sponsored by Blackstone, or at least his hat sponsor is Blackstone. And I believe that's the grill company, correct? It's not a country club or anything like that.
No, are you serious? It's a huge investment firm.
Oh,
So there's BlackRock and Blackstone. It is not the grill company, you absolute dipshit. And that, oh my God, you're so dumb.
file that into Chiefs correction corner. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, that it's.
I thought it was the grill company.
I mean, that would be better than Blackstone because honestly, that is the worst logo, and it is so gaudy. I can only imagine how much money they're paying Tommy Fleetwood to wear this because Tommy has had all the sty. He's got that nasty sty with all the Pebble Beach, the Riviera, and then he throws this hat on. Like that is talk about the ultimate downgrade in hat department. I am very disappointed in Tommy Fleetwood. I can only imagine it's some sort of 7-figure, 8-figure, maybe 8 figures over a couple years, but they got to be paying him a metric shit ton of money. And I actually saw a lot of people saying that his Masters odds have significantly decreased now that he's gone from he was probably going to be wearing an Augusta National hat, which would have been electric at Augusta, to now rocking the Blackstone hat at Augusta here next week. Also, just real quick, how electric is it that Augusta's next week? Like, it feels like it's kind of snuck up on us. Yeah. And I am already getting pre-excited for it.
Monday morning will be the day that you download the app and it comes, and it is the only app on any of my phones that get its own thing. It doesn't go in a folder. It lives on my home screen on my phone by itself for 7 days and then goes back away I wonder if the Augusta app, not that they care about downloads, but I wonder if you get retribution each year for how many downloads you have on your app, like if you like all these betting companies,
like the fact that people delete it and re-download it,
right? Like, do you get counted for that every single year? Have I downloaded the Masters app the last 5, 6, 7 years? Who knows how long since it's been a thing. But yeah, really excited for that. Of course, next week we'll do our preview on Augusta next Wednesday.
Real quickly, Blackstone is the world's largest alternative asset manager with over $1 trillion under management. So them
paying Tommy Fleetwood $100K, maybe $500K to wear fucking hats.
They're paying him a couple million at least
to wear the hats.
Oh, for sure. I mean, have you seen that they've done breakdowns on like what advertising on a hat would be worth? Because Bernhard Langer, remember at Augusta years ago when he made that basically Cinderella run where he finished, I think, inside the top 25, but there for a while he was kind of in contention and he was wearing a blank visor. I think they calculated it out that just in advertising dollars, I think the weekend, just like Saturday and Sunday, it was over $5 million in advertising revenue that could have been made by just having a logo on his hat. So, I mean, it is so crazy, and who knows who Tommy's agent is. Actually, I think it's his wife. I think his wife is his agent. That's kind of how
electric. Isn't she older too?
Yeah, she's a cougar, definitely. I mean, Tommy's stepson is like 18, 17 years younger like 14 or 15 years younger than him. So very much a cougar. I think his wife is like a good 10 years older than him. But yeah, that's Blackstone. It is not the grill company. So glad we could get that out of the way.
Yeah. Once again, for those of you on YouTube, here's this beautiful image.
Just the worst, hugest logo with it. I'm shocked that he's allowing that.
I mean, I will say it doesn't necessarily fit his old school Nike small swoosh vibe that he's worn for the past who knows how long, 15, 20 years. But there are worse logos on hats. And to me, at least one big logo that, like, his hat's almost similar to the one I'm wearing. Shout out Inverness. I played my fucking bag off yesterday. A little niner, played in 71 minutes, played through 2 groups.
What'd you shoot?
35.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you have officially turned into the old dudes at our old golf course that would tell you how fast they played before they tell you what they shot.
Yeah, well, I put my Apple Watch on when I start playing golf. I want to get those credits for doing my workouts and stuff. So I put the Apple Watch on, so it kind of tells me how long I've been playing, obviously, and then how far I've walked, etc. Especially when I walk, I do it. I don't do it if I'm riding in a cart. But yeah, dude, I've got the Cam Young pause in the top of the backswing with the irons and the wedges, and it was flag city. It was flag city all day. I mean, on one, I'm going to go through all 9 holes just to piss you off.
Please do not.
On one, I hit 8 out of 9 greens. The one green I missed was the par 3 where I missed it by a foot, chipped it to a foot, tapped in for par. Didn't make a single bogey, didn't make a single birdie, just 9 pars. Only missed 4 birdie putts inside of 10 feet, so not bad. Putters.
Is that your first ever bogey-free 9?
In my life?
I feel like it may be.
That's kind of fucked up.
No, have you ever shot a bogey-free round of 18 holes?
No, not 18, no.
Okay.
But it was just clinical, dude. It was clinical. It was just driving the ball. And actually, ironically, driving the ball was kind of a mess. It was not great. But I didn't put myself in such bad spots that I couldn't recover from them on said hole. But I was hitting golf shots into the greens, especially my approach shots. I was like, is anybody watching this? It's too bad that I'm walking alone here listening to the radio by myself, because this is a fucking show.
Yeah, I mean, you are now the guy that talks about playing by himself and talking about new swing thoughts that for sure will not last a month. You'll totally have forgotten about this, and I'll be like, what about the Cam Young pause? And actually go into that, talk a little bit about that Cam Young pause. Have you seen the interview where he said without the pause, he'd be like a 15 handicap?
No, what's funny, I'll correct you on that, because I'm pretty sure you're close. But what's funnier about that is he said I'd be like a 3 handicap, which is like a fucking knock on like everybody that's a 3 that thinks their shit doesn't stink because they're better than every single one of their friends or their random, people that they're paired with. But I think it's even funnier for him to say basically how good pros are, and we've talked about their actual handicaps and what they would be, etc. But him saying I'd be a 3 handicap like it's a bad thing just cracked me up.
Yeah, that is definitely a large knock. I think it's more, I guess, just a compliment of how good he is, because he's probably a legit +7, +8, somewhere in that ballpark. So yeah, basically it'd be adding 10 strokes to his game to be a 3 handicap, which is pretty wild to wrap your head around.
Yeah. It would be hilarious to see him just try to make a swing or two without doing it. Now mine's not. I'll have to have you take a peek at it when you get out here next week and we play some golf or in a couple weeks. But it's not as demonstrative as Cam Young's pause, but there's definitely a bit of a pause in there. I'm trying, at least I think there is. You never know how things actually look when you think you're doing something with a golf swing. Feel isn't real. All the other slang terms that golfers and golf coaches have for that stuff, but feels like I'm pausing. So I'm gonna have to get your take on it when you get out here.
I mean, just the fact that you're thinking about anything technical with your golf swing is, and I wouldn't even necessarily call that very technical, but you've just been such a non-technical guy where you just don't really have a thought in your brain when you swing the golf club. So I almost kind of respect it. It's impressive, because I'm thinking all the time about a million things, and you're just like, oh, let's go play 9 holes. Let's see how fast we can play.
Well, I got 3 swing thoughts right now. One is pre-swing. It's squaring my shoulders, getting my left shoulder out in front. You taught me that at City Park Range a couple years ago. So I'm really squaring up my left shoulder, making sure that my body's actually kind of square to my target and my shoulders are not open. Number 1. Number 2 is staying in the barrel. So my first move is my right leg straightens. That's the first move. Right leg straightens. Right hip is back, right ass cheek is sent back to the wall, essentially, is how I look at that. Then I still do the little Xander Schauffele, kind of take the club back. I try to make sure that that's a little more closed-ish or feels closed-ish on my takeaway. that's not really a swing thought more. That's like in my pre-swing routine. And then my last swing thought is just go to the top, give it a quarter of a second, pause, and then fire down. And it was flag hunting all day.
That's great, buddy. Glad to hear that. We're on
great,
we're back on our run to the member guest. We are officially we should break the record of what we shot last year. I feel like we need to shoot like 20 under.
20 under. Dude,
I mean, realistically in the scramble, we could fire 12 to 13 under.
Yeah, I think we could be better
basically shot what we shot in 9 holes. We shot 10 under on the back 9. So if we can just shoot 3 or 4 under on the other 9, then I think we're going to be okay.
That's true. That's true. All right. Well, let's get into another golf topic recently released on the social medias and now kind of becoming a real thing. Uber Golf. So Uber is kind of recreating another type of ride. Somebody, when this Uber Golf thing came out, somebody was like, isn't this just XL or Lux Black or whatever? I don't use Uber. I'm a Lyft guy, so I don't use Uber a ton. But this is an article from Golf or Uber Newsroom as of yesterday. Starting today, riders will start to see Uber Golf roll out on their app, the ultimate way to get to and from the course. Uber Golf includes the option to reserve a ride for up to 4 players with their clubs. Rides can be reserved up to 90 days in advance, so you can lock those tee times in and focus more on your backswing and less on how to get there. Shout out Uber for that AI. But I do love the part that you can book ahead. You can Uber reserve up to 90 days in advance. And you can do 2 guests, 2 sets of clubs, or 4 guests, 4 sets of clubs. So I think that's electric because when we were at our buddy RK's bachelor party in Tucson, played some incredible golf, had a great time, but the Uber situation was a clusterfuck. And leaving the gallery was a mess. Like it was 40 plus minutes. It was just kind of, and maybe we should have scheduled it earlier, but you never know. You play these rounds of golf, especially at bachelor parties. You don't know how quickly you're going to be able to get everybody off the golf course and everybody's.
Well, remember we showed up for the second round and there was a 2.5 hour frost delay.
That too. So we were definitely on time. But then scheduling the round, you're like, oh, is this going to be 4.5 hour round? Is this going to be a 5 hour round? Are we going to be able to, have drinks after the bar's closed and do that? There's so many variables, but scheduling the rides to and from, I think what this will do is this will have Ubers kind of preset, like they're ready to take you to the golf course. They know, because we've taken Ubers to the golf course. We did it in Texas, right? When we played golf after the Broncos Cowboys game a couple years ago, took an Uber there, stashed our shit at the club, played, and then took our Uber straight to the airport.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, what would you?
And we also did it in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, we've been Ubering to golf everywhere. So you tell me what you think for a half-hour ride. What do you think is reasonable for a foursome to pay to get a half-hour ride to the golf course with all their clubs?
100 beans?
Wow, that seems low to me. I would say more in like 125 to 150. Even I would say that 200 is not like out of the question, depending on where you are and what time it is, which I think then is a great deal for the Uber driver and a pretty good deal of chop 4 ways, 50. And I guess, I don't know if the fares are going to work on is it pre-booked as to like the same person picks you up and drops you off, or like, you know what I'm saying?
That would be a massive win. That would be a massive win if you get that, because then, when you're leaving, the guy's kind of predetermined, guy, gal, whoever's driving you, they may or may not have a parrot in their car.
I was just going to say, do you remember a parrot being in one of those cars? And our boy Team Moal was like talking to the parrot, and absolutely, I was cracking the fuck up. That was one of the oddest, funniest Uber rides I've ever been in. Is it what's our boy's name that I cannot seem to remember?
The Team Moal?
Yes.
Daniel.
Honestly, one of the funniest, most low-key funny dudes. Like the first 9 I played with him, I was really questioning what was going on because it just seemed like he did not have his shit together whatsoever. And then I spent a couple days with him. I was like, this guy might be one of my favorite people that I've ever met in my life.
I will say that is, as a dude, when you go on a bachelor party where you I think you knew probably maybe what was there 16, let's say there's 16 guys. You knew maybe 4 or 5 of them well.
Yeah.
I probably knew 6 or 7 of them, and then all the rest of them you meet. There is truly no better feeling than, and not that I need a bunch of new friends or any of us need a bunch of new friends, but when you go to an event like that where you don't know a ton of people and then you meet guys that are truly either hilarious or just whatever, just good dudes, and then you're not necessarily
You're
friends
boys
with them
with them.
forever, but you see them once in a while and you're like, oh, that fucking guy. Or they become such good friends like Daniel did. Like, I kept hanging out with him. I'd invite him to the Hanger Club for league, and like I'm like, I want to hang out with this fucking guy because he's so cool.
Well, yeah, and there's definitely, you get a certain version of somebody when they're on a bachelor party that you would not get from them otherwise. So, like, I almost don't want to hang out with Daniel again because I feel like it would ruin it, because he was just in
He's
such
still
peak
just as
form.
great. He's still just as great. Sober, doing monotonous shit. I've only played golf with him. I went to a Nuggets game with him too, and that was pretty great. But yeah, just an all-time funny guy.
All-time funny dude. But yes, Uber for golf, I think, is a great thing. They're basically just wording it differently. It's just an XL. I don't know if they're actually going to do anything different with this setup, or they're just a different rebrand. But overall, I think it's a win for golfers, especially because think of how many people are going to the golf course and then drinking and driving, pulling the old Tiger Woods and getting behind the wheel after they've had a few pops on the golf course. Just make sure you're safe on the way home to and from the golf course. That is the idea. Go out, have a good time, but then don't sauce it and get behind the wheel.
Yeah, no, never a good. My bachelor party, we left 2 Tahoes at the golf course for roughly a weekend.
Yeah, that was the dumbest renting of cars. And I just remember being like borderline blacked out in the back of this Uber. I definitely fell asleep because it was like a 45-minute ride back from like St. Pete, Clearwater, I want to say. And we just abandoned the Ubers in the parking lot and
abandoned the rental cars.
We legitimately picked them. We had them drop us off going to the airport, pick the cars up, and fucking headed straight to the airport. It was the biggest waste of rental cars that I've ever been a part of. But yeah, it was smart to Uber. That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, well, let's get into, before we hit our Valero Texas Open preview and talk about this week on the PGA Tour leading up to the Masters, the final tune-up before the Masters. Mitchell has a player profile for us. So why don't we hop into your player profile? Valero Texas Open is a great spot to do this. There's some names. And I'm excited to see who you picked.
Yeah, so I picked Frankie Sappin, which is I would say he hasn't had a great PGA Tour career quite yet. This is his second year.
Capan, right?
Yes, and
I thought it was Capin.
I would assume it was pronounced Capin, but I've heard it pronounced Sappin. So I could be completely wrong. It could be Capin. So he was born on 11/9 of 1999, which is kind of crazy. Only 9s and 11s in his birthday, which is a little freaky.
9s and 1s.
He was born in Stillwater, Minnesota, which I've never heard of Stillwater, Minnesota before, but he is a Minnesota kid. He's a huge Vikings fan, so poor fucker. Just disappointment year after year. Kyler Murray, though, could be the first guy on the Kyler train. So he is 6 feet tall. He's 190 pounds, nothing crazy, physically speaking.
Me when I'm in shape, currently at probably 212.
Yeah, that's pretty close. So he grew up in Minnesota. Pretty crazy stat. So to nobody's shock, he is a silver spooner. His dad his dad was one of the first people to ever bring ATMs outside of banks. So apparently back in the 90s, you could you could only go to a bank to get money, and then there was really no outside ATMs, which kind of makes sense. Like, you kind of think now there's all these ATMs everywhere, but when did that kind of happen? Well, apparently Frankie Sappin's dad, along with his business partner, brought ATMs outside of banks. And at one point, his dad and his business partner owned 8,500 ATMs.
Quite literally and figuratively printing money.
Yeah. So just quick math. If each of your ATMs does $50 a day in fees, That's $500,000 a day, or no, that's even more.
How many they owned 8,500 ATMs?
Oh, I'm sorry. So it's about $4 million a day in revenue. If each of your 8,500 ATMs does about $50 in transactions.
You're off again. That's $425,000 a day.
Times 50? Okay, 425 a day. Jesus Christ. I thought my initial take was right in the ballpark. I said, what did I say? $500,000?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, that's $160 million a year in ATM revenue, which is pretty fucking crazy. I mean, $50. Well, if you had to guess, what would you say an average ATM does in fees per day?
Well, I mean, your fees are anywhere between around $3. So you get hit. Yeah, I'd say 50, 60 bucks. The ATM gets hit 20 times in a day, depending upon its location and whatnot. But I think ATMs obviously I feel like, are dying breed in general right now, because not a lot of people are needing to get cash out. I feel like the only place you can consistently have a good ATM is at a casino, or there's a few bars left that take cash only. That's a great call for an ATM. The rest of them, I feel like people have wised up a bit, and they only want to pull cash out at their bank's ATM because they don't want to pay the fees, which is smart of them. But, I think the ATM's a dying breed, but when he got into it was huge, cash in the 90s, early 90s, 2000s, like massive.
Well, so he did sell his company.
Genius. Get out while you're on top.
Yeah, I think he sold for, I want to say, around $22 million or somewhere in that, or no, I'm sorry, 40, around 40 million. So I think if he owned 50%, he would have made around 20 million beans. But in the early 2000s, that could now easily be 70, 80, $100 million. So needless to say, Frankie is not worried about where his next check is coming from. So he played 2 years at Alabama and then 2 years at Florida Gulf Coast. He is one of two guys ever to get a PGA Tour card from FGCU, which, by the way, do you know where FGCCU is?
Isn't it? I don't know. Is it in Tampa, or I know it's one of the more elite campus lives, isn't it? I remember when they were going on their little Final Four run, and whenever teams do that are smaller, they get a lot of pub on how great either something in their school is. And I think I remember Florida Gulf Coast was like, going to school there was like walking on beaches, essentially.
Yeah,
you're going walking through a beach to go to class.
Yeah, it's near Sarasota. So it's I'm sorry, I take that back. Jesus Christ, it's near like Bonita Springs, like Naples, Florida area. So somewhere in that Fort Myers Beach, Bonita Springs, kind of, so pretty far south of Tampa, kind of almost all the way down on the Gulf side. But anywho, he his PGA Tour career has not started off so hot. He has made 13 of 36 cuts on tour so far. So has had kind of a rough go of it so far. His stats are not anything to write home about. I think his approach game is probably by the looks of it, his best statistic.
Are you going to say anything good about this poor guy?
I mean,
other than the fact his dad's a billionaire,
seems like he's had a little bit of a rough go so far. I mean, he's made $10,000 this year in 4 starts. So he's not.
How is that even possible?
He finished T50 at the Puerto Rico Open, which is probably the lowest.
Okay.
DFL everything else
maker.
Yes, everything else he's gotten cut in. At the Farmers, he's +7. At the Cognizant, he was +10. Both missed cuts. So let's go back to his full year last year. He made 10 of 28 cuts, had 4 top 25s, and 3 top 10s. So last year he made $1.1 million.
Okay. So at 3, because when you say that name, like there's those random PGA Tour guys that just show up on the leaderboard more often than not, and you kind of recognize the name from a few weeks where you're looking at the leaderboard and you've got your Fleetwoods and your Lowrys and whoever, all the guys you know, and then there's a guy like that where you're like, oh, what's this guy's story? I mean, it happens every single week. And it'd be fun, you know what we should do in our gambling picks, or we should see if we can find a guy, and we'll take the odds from either the Bet365 app, which is what I use for golf essentially. Go to the last 10 guys in the field and just take them to top 10 and see how many times we could hit that. Like, we have to pick a guy in the very back half of the tournament odds to be in the top 10. Cause even those top 10s will be plus 1,500, right? Plus 2,000. If you go that low down a big, a signature event, you're not going to get odds like that. But any other 120 plus player PGA Tour event, we could get some good odds.
Yeah. So just looking through his stats this year, he's hitting 40% of fairways, so not really ideal from an accuracy perspective. Let's go back to his last full year because he only had 4 starts. So strokes gained, not good. So he's actually last year the 12th best putter on tour. Strokes gained off the tee last year, he was 179th, and strokes gained approach, he was 175th. So overall, not driving accuracy. Last year, he hit 45% of fairways. Like, I genuinely
that sounds like
curious how you keep a PGA Tour card missing over half the fairways out there. And on top of it, he drives it 301 yards on average. So he's not long, and he's also crooked. So
that is
honestly,
not a good combo.
I kind of feel bad. I am kind of dragging this guy, but he's not had the hottest PGA Tour career start.
Well, hopefully he gets the Migsy player profile boost. You know,
maybe he'll get a little bump after me giving him a shout out. I know Monday Q Info's mentioned him quite a bit. I know he's a good dude that does a lot of like charity work and all that kind of stuff. So would be cool to see him get a good finish. But yeah, as of right now, nothing too exciting to report on Frankie Sappin.
Okay. Shout out Frankie Sappin. Well, let's get into a shout out to Frankie Sappin's dad, ATM connoisseur.
ATM
Let's get into the Valero Texas Open, a beautiful TPC San Antonio Oaks course. One of the more, I think it's an enjoyable golf course to watch. What are your thoughts on the golf course itself? Like, the tournament is it's, you know, in sports, you have the look ahead game. This is the ultimate look ahead game on the PGA Tour. The number one look ahead game on the PGA Tour is the Valero Texas Open with, you know, but it's also interesting because and I haven't seen any scenarios tweeted out yet. Usually we'll maybe see some earlier this week, but I think Ricky Fowler needs to win at the Valero Texas Open to get to the Masters. But it's also interesting from that lens of there's like probably 4 or 5 guys out there that need X amount of finish to get into the Masters next week. So that's what makes it a little bit fun, but also it's a look ahead game. And it's one of those where I've said this in the past and I've preached this, and I'm not a, you know, PGA Tour agent or whatever, but this is one of those events where the field is a little stronger. There's some good players and some top 20 players in the world in it. But this is one of those where, like, let's, if you're a mid-level tour player, if you're Frankie Sappin, fucking dive into the Valero Texas Open, man. Go win this thing, because people are just trying to, I bet you there's a lot of guys out there. Obviously they want to make a paycheck and want to win this event, and they're good enough to win this event. But there's a lot of guys out there this week that are just like, all right, I need to figure out a few things before I go to Augusta next week. You know, they're not like necessarily trying to win the event. They may be working on some stuff. So this is a perfect opportunity for a guy to come out and win it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this is the ultimate win and get in type of event. So I definitely think that, like you said, there should be some lower level tour guys that really zero in on one tournament and kind of make it their Super Bowl in order to like make a good paycheck, keep their cards, possibly get into other events and things like that. So yeah, Ricky Fowler's on the outside looking in. Tony Finau's really not even close. I don't know as of right now. So there's definitely different, and I sound like a dipshit, but I know that some guys have already qualified that are outside of the world golf ranking, because Gary Woodland is in, but he's 51st in the world right now. So there's definitely exemptions that are not included in that world ranking. As of right now, I think Michael Torbjornsson is on the outside looking in. So that could be a hungry dogs run faster type of situation this week. He's trying to qualify for his first Masters.
hungry dogs try to play better on a Sunday.
Hungry dogs try to not piss down their leg on a Sunday when they're top 5 and blow Miggs's top 10 bet.
Well, dude, I will say, do you remember? I don't remember this tournament last year. There's a good amount of tournaments I remember. I feel like we watch every single one of them on a Sunday. But I was doing some research for my picks, which we'll get to here shortly. And last year, do you remember the end of this tournament at all? So Brian Harman won it at 9 under par by 3 shots, so it wasn't really close. But he shot 3 over on Sunday. Ryan Gerard, who finished second, shot 3 under on Sunday to finish solo second. Maverick McNeely finished third, but he shot even Sunday. And then Novak, Hisatsune, Chad Ramey, Tom Hoagie, all in the top 5 and shot like 4. Keith Mitchell, T12, shot 4 over on Sunday. So Sunday must have just been a complete, absolute fucking
cluster.
Mess.
Yeah. Well, it can get very windy down there in the hill country of Texas. So I know that this course is generally, I wouldn't say one of the hardest, although we do have a buddy back in Colorado that actually went to this Monday qualifier back in the day and played. I think they used to have Monday qualifiers like on property because they've got quite a few courses on this property. And he said like the trees and shit came so narrow into the fairway that you actually had to drive it really straight because right off of the fairway, wasn't it Kevin Na that made like a 17 here a few years ago?
Yeah, I believe that was the hole where he was trying to hit it out of the bushes.
Yes.
And just could not get out of the.
Yeah, I think those bushes are like super lethal. Are you?
Well, no, all I can find here is the Kevin Na meltdown at the Players on number 17. And oh yeah. Kevin Na shoots a 16 at Valero Texas Open in 2011.
Was that 15 years ago?
Bro, what?
Oh my God. I am so washed. Holy Christ. I thought that was like 2019, maybe. That is fucking bananas. I just remember Kevin Na having the absolute worst time in one of those bushes. Kevin Na was just one of those dudes that now he's on live and you kind of miss out. You miss it a little because whether he was winning or doing something crazy and terribly bad like that, he was like a fun watch dude. So I kind of miss him on the PGA Tour. Actually, didn't he leave live and now he's trying to like get reinstated?
I don't know.
I think Kevin Na leaving. Yeah, that's the leaving live. This is not great podcasting.
Yeah, Kevin Na left Live Golf after 4 seasons as Ironheads GC rebranded to Korean GC, and he apparently didn't want a part of Korean GC.
Fair enough. So, I mean, maybe we do see Kevin Na back. I don't know if he'll ever qualify to get back on the PGA Tour or not. Also, do you ever just scroll through fields and like wonder how these dudes are in these fields? Because Webb Simpson has gotten so many starts and he's like 450th in the world right now.
For some reason, his U.S. Open win at Olympic Club just is one of the tournaments that's ingrained in my head over watching golf for the past 20 years or however long we've been doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think that's one of the more memorable U.S. Open wins because and then the dude that ran out in the American flag and the bird thing and kind of stole his press conference. But yeah, I think Webb Simpson's like the president of the Players Association or some shit, so he gets all these exemptions when he really shouldn't. But yeah, if you were to bet on somebody to top 10 that had massive odds this week, it would probably be Webb Simpson. But the dude has just not played good golf in forever. So, but moving on, should we get into our gambling picks a little bit?
Let's do it. So we've got our big bet energy picks for this week, Valero Texas Open. I am now at 10.5 units down on the year. A nice 5-unit positive week for me last week. Almost turned myself into a plus 17 unit guy. Shout out to Gary Woodland for winning. I'm not going to hate the guy for winning. Great story, but would have been nice if I could have got him to be second and my boy Nikolai Højgaard to win. So I'm like a stupid bettor going to think that whatever I did last week was gospel and use it again. So there's no formula. There's no, I'm, checking strokes tee to green or this course matches up with this course. And these are the players that play good. I'm strictly going off some guys that played well at this course last year and have had a decent run up until the event this year. So that's my formula. Going with Ryo Hisatsune to win it. He top 10 tier last year, has had a really good start to the year. Wasn't great last week, specifically in Texas, but has been a guy that you've had on the card. He was leading, I believe, the waste management for a good bit of the time, had a good year. And so in good form and had a good year last year at the Valero Texas Open. So he's plus 3,700 to win it. Keith Mitchell, once again, top 12 here last year and top 10 the past week on the PGA Tour. So good form, good player at the Valero Texas Open. He's plus 600 to top 5. Little sketchy there. I wanted a little bit more odds. I think he's like plus 300 to top 10. And then I actually fucked up, and I almost fucked up and put Tor Bjornsson in here. He would have fit my mold, played well here last year, actually, and also played well last week until he kind of faltered down the stretch on Sunday. But it's actually instead of Michael Torbjornsson, it's going to be Torbjorn Olesen at plus 450 to top 10. And then one and done, Keith Mitchell, riding Cashmere Keith this week in the one and done, which now that I say that out loud, I might have to check and make sure I didn't pick him already in the one and done. So I'm going to do that. You get into your picks.
Yeah, we're kind of getting to that point where it's like, who have I used and not used in the one and done? So I am rolling with Sepp Straka this week. I just think that he is kind of due to get a win on a course like this. He won at John Deere a few years ago, and this feels like kind of a similar type of event. He's solid at everything. He's a guy that every week when I look up at the leaderboard, he's near the top, and I'm like, how is he doing this? Because he's not elite at anything. He's just very good at everything. So I'm rolling Sepp Straka this week. I'm riding Sundarshan Yalamaraju. The dude.
Whoa, dude, that was fucking elite.
I've got his name down. Like, I legitimately don't want to fuck it up.
The pronunciation on that was unbelievable.
And it could be like Sundarshan, or I don't really know. I just say Sundarshan, Yalamaraju, but the dude is playing some fantastic golf right now. Plus 450 to top 10. And then David Ford, the Electric Factory, the dude just makes eagles and
the back nine factory. That guy hits the turn, gets a glizzy, does whatever he does, and then comes back and just goes immediately balling.
Yeah. The electric lefty from North Carolina. I am taking him to top 10. It feels like he's kind of been trending, been kind of hitting his head up against that wall a few times this year. He's had some good finishes, but hasn't really been able to put it together. So I could see him having a good week this week. So why not? That was kind of one of those down near the bottom where I was like, yeah, I'll sprinkle a little bit on this top 10. So,
and he's an electric watch. So if you're getting a lot of his golf shots and even following him on the PGA Tour app, it's going to be it's a roller coaster with that guy.
100%. I'm ready to deposit a hefty amount into my betting account. And I don't necessarily know. I'll bet this week on my guys, but I'll just sprinkle. But then I think Augusta, I'm going to spray the board.
I love that.
It's going to be like a urinal after I've had 8 vodka sodas. It's just going to be pray and spray, baby. Cause I am going to bet on so many guys next week. I'm already just looking forward to, Augusta, but this week is also a pretty fun week to watch. I think this golf course is a fun one, so it's going to be a good week this week.
I love that. All right, well, we're going to finish this Wednesday episode up like we do every Wednesday with WTF Wednesday. I will start out. Mine is, I kind of alluded to it earlier, this watering situation in my house and at my place of living is pissing me off. That's kind of a WTF Wednesday. My other one, though, this is a small little thing, but the other day I was working out and I was at the gym early in the morning and I had a sock in my hood that from the laundry that was just like I was like, why is it? It fell out when I was like doing a push-up. And I was like, why? So now I had to carry a fucking sock around for my
Was it
entire
your
workout.
sock or your kid's sock? Just
it was mine. It was my
You're like
sock.
Mike Wazowski or what Sully when he had the sock on him. And yeah,
that's exactly what I was. I was Sully. That's incredible. So I was just going full Sully at the gym.
I actually, a few months ago, we got back from the bar and I was taking off my shirt and I just had a dryer sheet stuck to my chest. And that Missy lost her shit laughing. She thought it was absolutely hilarious. Because I was like, my chest is kind of itchy. Like, I don't know what's going on. And just a dryer sheet stuck in my chest hair. So my WTF Wednesday is I had this lady cut me off today and then immediately flip me the bird when I honked at her. And I have not, like, New Jersey drivers get a bad rap for being assholes, and everyone does drive pretty aggressively. But when somebody's in the wrong and then flips you off, like, if I get honked at because I fucked up, I'm immediately like, I curl up and I'm like, oh God, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like such an asshole. This bitch just hits me with the middle finger right back in between in the rear view. And so then I just fucking gave her the middle finger right back. I was like, and it's like, women's minds never cease to blow my mind, where it's like, you know, when you fight with your significant other and then it's because of something they did wrong and then you end up saying sorry. Like, that's how I felt. I was like, she cut me off and then I honked at her and she flipped me off. I'm like, what the fuck did I do? I'm like, and this, by the way, I was like trying to go straight and she was in a turn lane and jumped out right in front of me. Like, when I was fucking just cruising along. And so she clearly cut me off. And I'm like, this bitch, like, in no world was I in the wrong for any of this. So just the fact that she gave me the old double barrel right in the fucking back mirror, I was like, fuck you too then. So yeah, I had a very New Jersey driving moment apparently. But Missy, she tells me she flips people off all the time on the road. So I think it's actually kind of electric because you just, in New Jersey, it's everybody does it. So it's a rite of passage to give someone the bird.
Yeah. Now you're full New Jersey and you've been flipped off by a lady who fucked you essentially.
Yeah. Oh, fuck me. Fuck you.
Well, that wraps it up for us on this week's edition of Big Drive Energy. Follow us on all the socials at Big Drive Energy Golf, Instagram, Big Drive Energy on TikTok and Twitter. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. We will be back on Monday with a little winner circle edition after the Valero Texas Open. And then, of course, back next week with an episode on Wednesday previewing the Masters. We'll talk about the Masters dinner. We'll talk about the weather. And then Sunday night of the Masters, we'll do a live show down the stretch. Maybe we'll get an electric playoff like we got last year. So much fun to do those. So make sure you're tuning into the Big Drive Energy YouTube every single Sunday of the majors and the signature events for our live show. We will talk to you on Monday. Peace.